Hey, Tim back again here in mine and Carolyn's house, sitting at the dining table today. Real cold outside. Um, People say, well, why do you stop your videos short like that? Well, because I'm running out of time on my phone on each recording. And, uh, and I have an ulterior motive to hopefully to make you come back and listen to the second and third videos. I try to do at least 3 videos each time I do a little session, and so sometime my story ends and then it would take up on the next video. So always remember that you'll see the explanation of the video, and then there'll be continue 1 and continue 2. So continuing from the our first session here is that Carolyn went back with me to pick up the truck, and I got the truck home, and at that time the church that Carol and I were going to, we had a personal friend who was a mechanic, and he was always working on our family cars, and a great man of God, and he was there. Like I said again, we went to church together, and so I had gotten it over to his shop, and he asked that I need for you to help me tune this thing up. It's not running real well, and he said okay. So I said I'm gonna go, and at that time we had the car. I had Carol and I had the car that I got for a graduation gift from my folks way back in. I won't tell you the year. Been a long time ago. I guess I'll tell you, 1967. And so we were driven that car for a long time, and so we had then eventually bought another car. But anyhow, getting back to talking about the truck, and so I had taken it over there and I'd left it with him, and I said I'm gonna go to Mom's and Dad's house. That's where Carolyn and Thaxton's at right now, and then I'll call you later and you tell me what's up on the truck. And he says, okay. So I guess I was there probably an hour, visiting with Mom and Dad, and Carolyn and Thaxton were there as well. And we didn't want to go back home because it was a little bit piece from my folks' house. I say a little piece nowadays, 50 miles is not a long ways, but I guess back those days we thought 10 miles was a long ways. But anyhow, we were about 10 miles out of town where we had our house on a little country road called Bendy Smith Road. That's where we bought this house. And so anyhow, we again getting back to the story, we were at Mom and Dad's, and the phone rang, and it was Mr. Brown. And the man's name was Cyril Brown. He had a garage. He was some people may call him a shade tree mechanic. He actually had a shop by his house, and he was a great mechanic. And like I said, he worked on all our vehicles. So he called me, and he said, hey, Tim, I want to talk to you about the truck. And I thought, okay. I said, what's going on? Everything going good? He said, yeah, he said, the only thing I had to do was put a carburetor kit in it. And back those days, carburetor kit was only about $5. And so a $5 carburetor kit, and the thing was running like a champ, and he said, well, how much did you pay for this truck? I said, I paid $400 for it, and this was his exact words. Man, you got a lot of favor, didn't you? That was a really good deal. I said, yes, I did. Yes, I did. So I'm all about favors, having good favor on the situation and getting good deals. And so anyhow, we went and picked up the little truck, and I took it back to the house, and man, it ran like a champ. It was a 3-speed manual on the column, and a nice little truck, a 283, had a 283 Chevrolet engine in it, and man, that little truck was scald down the road. Man, it would run really great. So we got it back home. So about 4 houses down from us, on the end of Bendy Smith Road where we live, there was a gentleman that Carol and I had met, their family and everything. We knew everybody in the little community there. It was only about 4 houses there, I guess, in that area. There was 3 on the side where we were at, and then there was 1 across the road, an older couple that lived across the road from us. And so anyhow, I made friends with this guy. We visited with him, and they'd had supper with us before, and they had small kids as well. But he had a garage that he turned into a shop too, and actually it was a paint booth. He had a little paint booth set up in there, and he did body work and things like that. And I thought, man, how convenient this is. Three houses down from me, and there's a guy that can do this work. So I went down and I talked to him, and he said, wow, this is a nice old truck. I said, yeah, I want to restore it. And he said, okay. I said, you think you can paint it for me? Oh, yeah, I can paint it for you. If you'll buy all the supplies and everything, I'll paint it. And I said, well, I'll start doing the body work. I had a few spots that needed to be taken care of. So through the process of that, I took that 65 Chevrolet stepside. Yeah, I said it was F100, but that's a Ford. It's a kind of F100 weight on it. It was a small pickup, short bed. And so I started working on it, and I took all the wood out of the bed and replaced it with all fresh wood, new wood in there. And then on that truck, on the side of it, it had a wheel where the extra tire was. It was fit on the outside and was bolted, and in the fender, it was a round cutout on that fender where the spare tire would fit back there. And so I didn't really like that, having a spare tire there, but we got it where we could put the spare up underneath, on how they are now, up underneath the bed of the truck. And I had went and down where I worked in Beaumont, there were a few salvage yards and things like that, because we were kind of in the industrial district, and so there was all kinds of stuff like that. So I was able to pick up a bumper for it, and then the guy told me where I could find a fender for it. So I had taken the fender off and put some gauze and stuff in there where it was kind of had a sticky residue on it where water wouldn't get down in there, and got it all fixed up, got all of that sanded out and everything. I'm telling you a whole story about building this truck, but getting to some points about how we were having favor, how we'd met these people and they were going to be able to help us and things like that. And that's the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to help one another. And I'll tell you a story that we came back to the area and was living in Beaumont, how with church we went to, how we used to help people. We'd have weekends where we'd have a garage raising, where we'd go and they wanted to build a new garage or something on their house. Well, people that knew a little bit of carpenter work, we'd all get together, and one day, and a couple of buckets of chicken and some red soda water or something to drink, we could build a garage for them. So that's always the helping people. Nowadays people don't want to help because they think it's going to be too inconvenient, or somebody's going to take advantage of my help, or man, if I help somebody, they're going to always be there wanting help. And I'll tell you how you can solve those issues as well when you're in situations like that. Anyhow, we got in the truck. I got it all sanded down. And back those days, it had a metal dash, didn't have a vinyl dash or a padded dash, and so he got the paint, and man, he painted that thing. Is a Pontiac Catalina blue, had metal flakes in it. Beautiful old truck, man. He fixed it up. I put some new wheels on it. Back those days, those white spokes, wheels. I put some of those on there, redid the inside, put new carpet, bought a new seat, and put me a cassette, not a cassette. I guess it's 4-track tape player back in those days in there. And boy, me and Caroline be going down the road to Sweet Caroline, playing in there, and Caveman, not Caveman, that's my grandson, but Taxon be standing up beside us, or Carolyn be holding, he'd be listening to the song Sweet Caroline, and that song, we played that at Carolyn's service as well. And so we was really enjoying that, and we said, okay, we got to take this thing fishing. Well, I had gone back to work. I had finished the truck up, drove the truck to work, and it was spot on, man. Everybody loved it, and everybody was trying to buy it from me, but I didn't want to sell it. So I was coming back again from work, and I went by this camper place. It was outside of Beaumont, between Beaumont and Silsbee, Lumberton area, and I was coming back, and they'd sold trailers out there, and actually that's when my mom and dad bought a little camper trailer that we put up on Lake Livingston, and that was where we'd go fishing. But anyhow, I guess coming back, and I noticed this thing, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with these. They were called cab-over campers back in those days. I think they still have them. I'm pretty sure they do. They actually fit in the bed of the truck, the camper did. And you would have 4 legs, inside. You could, excuse me, you could jack it up, get it, hydraulic it up or hand jack it up. Then you just back your truck up on it and then mash the little deals, and it would just sit down in the bed of the truck. Then on the back, it had a little step like that where you could get up inside. So I had really caught my interest. So I told Carolyn about it, and she said, well, yeah, we can do that. I think we got enough money to do that. I said, well, I only want to spend a certain amount of money, And she said, okay. So we prayed about it and said, Lord, we need a good deal. And that was our prayer. Lord, we need a good deal. And so she said, I want to see this. I said, okay, let's go the weekend and we'll go look at it. So we got in the truck, man, and I loved driving that little truck. It was a honey, man. It would really, really go really smooth, shifting the gears and the whole deal. Of course, nowadays you folks may not know how to drive standards. That's how we learned to drive standard shift vehicles, and we got our license. And of course now everything's automatic, which is great, but everything was standard, so you had to worry about popping the clutch and doing the clutch and the brake and the gas and not rolling down hills and things like that. So that's why I said automatic is great. But anyhow, we came back, Carol and I did, and we were having such a good time with each other, and I got to thinking about that little cab over deal, and so Carol and I went and we began to talk to the guy there, and of course we got the sales pitch, boy, today's the day. You're sure lucky today to be here today because, man, we got this special deal. You know how those things work. And so anyhow, we were looking at it, and we liked it, man, big time, And they said, well, it's so much money. I said, well, we only have what we want to spend is this amount. And they said, oh wait, there's no way we can do that way, because this is a brand new rig and everything. And I said, oh, I understand. I said, but we're not the one to get in debt. I mean, we're already in debt with our house, but so we don't want to make any more debt. And so they whispered it around there and everything, and they said, well, we can't really sell it to you for that amount that you got, but what we're willing to do, if you really want this and everything, if you want to give that amount that you said you had for it, then we will take 3 payments to pay it off. I said, no, I don't want to do that. I said, I don't want to do that at all, And they said, well, I'm sorry, we can't do it. I said, okay, that's fine. I understand. You guys got to make a profit and everything too. I understand that. You got to keep this lot open and overhead, and I understand. I understand that. Now I understand more about business than I did then. But so we started to go, and then all of a sudden I look in my rearview mirror of the truck, and this he's waving his hands like that, and so I stopped. And Carol said, well, wonder what he wants. And I said, I don't know. So we turned around and drove back over there. He said, I don't know why I'm doing this for you. I said, okay, what are you talking about? He said, well, I have this one that looks it's identical to the one that you like. And you saw it on the showroom floor and everything, And he said that was our display model and everything that we showed and everything, and he said we're wanting to put another display in here of a bigger one and so forth and so on. And he said I don't know why I'm doing this, and I'm probably going to lose money, and on this, but I'll sell it to you for what you said you have. I said, oh really? He said, yeah, I'll do that. And I said, and I looked at Carolyn, and Carolyn gives me that wink and says, You know, it's like Carol and I had the laser beams between our thought patterns and the way we looked at each other and our expressions and everything. And she kind of gave me that wink, and I said, okay, let's do it. So he said, well, on this truck, you're gonna probably have to have these billow shocks on there where you can put air and raise it up a little bit, because it was only a 1-ton truck and this was a pretty heavy deal. And I said, well, that might be a deal killer. And he said, well, what are you talking about? I said, because that costs some money, huh, to do that? He said, well, yeah, but I'm willing to throw that in the deal. I said, okay, well, cool, let's do it. So they put these shocks on, my big billow looking shocks on there, where you could put the air, like you go to the service station, you pump up your tires or air up your tires, you put that on there and they would blow up the back end, blow those billows up and make it up where it'd be more stable. So here we are, man. We were headed back home, and we were having a good time going there in Thaxton. I don't know why I keep calling him Cademan, but Thaxton, Cademan is Thaxton's older son. He just kept doing his hand, and I said, look at him, Carol, he's praising God. So we got to praising God and playing our music, and then he kept going, he was talking, mama, and he said, I bet he wants to play Sweet Caroline. So we put that in there, and he was all over the place, with that. And here we are going home, and got our little camper on our trailer and the whole deal. And so I go down to my friend's place and show him, and he said, well, you know what? You're going to need a bumper that comes out and makes a little platform so y'all guys can step up on it, And I said, okay, we will do that. He said, no, I want to do that for you. I said, okay, man. I'm the day for receiving gifts today, And so he did that for us, and so we were ready to go. And at that time, like I said, Thaxton being a small baby, he had his Nook, his pacifier, and that was a good a good piece of equipment, because it really kept him occupied a lot of times. And when he might feel fussy, and especially when he started cutting teeth and stuff like that, it would be good to have that. I've got just a point I want to say to you about that. Sometimes people say, well, Tim, you have old people remedies about certain things, and when things happen and everything, especially in children and stuff. And I'm going to give you an old person remedy about teething and things like that. People usually put oral gel or something in there on their gums because the teeth are trying to come through and things like that. If you take a silver dime, and a silver dime might be hard to find, but if you can find it, it has to be silver. You have a silver dime, then you take an ice pick, and right in the top corner of it, you make a hole in it, and then you put a little safety pin on that and pin it to them where it touches their skin. Then that would help them in teething. That would help their gums and everything. So you say, oh, I don't believe that's so superstitious stuff. Well, don't try it if you don't want to, but I'm telling you it works. And we have passed that dime down from folks to folks to folks, and it's worked all the time. But anyhow, the pacifier deal was the ticket, So we was all excited. We'd put our boat on there, and here we are. I wish you could see could have seen the side of that. It was this little pickup truck with this big old camper on it, with this thing on the back and the pull of this boat. And the thing about was that really it was too big. It was really too big for our little truck, but we managed it anyhow. And so I remember when we come out of the road there, and it was coming up to the highway, there was kind of a dip, and I thought we was going to turn that thing over, because it was top heavy. But anyhow, we got on and we went to Sam Rayburn, and it's a park that we like to go there. It's called Sandy Lake Park, and we fished there a lot of times. I'd fished there with the guys at work too, and great place to camp and all that. So here we are. We get there, and we driven now. I guess Rayburn from where we was at is maybe an hour and a half, something like that, maybe an hour. And so we'd driven and gotten there, and so we'd unhooked the boat, let the boat off, because We was going to take the trailer. We were going to take the camper off the trailer and off of the truck rather. And so we pulled up there and I backed up in there, and then we did those jacks on the 4 jacks on the side and lifted it up. And I pulled the truck out from under there, and then we let it down. It wouldn't fit all the way flat on the ground. It was just about that much off the ground. So anyhow, it worked real well. So Thaxton was time for him to take a nap, and so Carolyn had in there, had all the baby stuff. You know how it is. You had to take all the baby stuff when you go and do things like that. So we'd taken all the essentials, but there was one thing we forgot at home, and that was the pacifier. That was the Nook. And so I thought, we almost panicked. Said, oh Lord, how's he going to go to sleep without that? Because he'd been used to going to sleep with it, you know. And we thought, man, we got to go into town. But, you know, by the time we go to town and find one of those, we'd have to put it in our mouth and kind of, you know, they're real hard to start off with to make it soft and everything, you know, this is not going to work. And Carolyn said, well, let's just pray about it. I said, okay. I said, Lord, help us. Help us. Thaxton doesn't have his Nook. Amen. And so, you know, we got there, and I had taken the boat. Carolyn had got Thaxton in the trailer and fed him and everything, and I backed the boat down and I launched it in the water, and brought the trailer back and tied it off, and you know, she came in, come in here and look at this. So I said, okay. So I got up in the trailer. It was wonderful. You could get up inside there. It had a little stove on one side, a little cabinet on one side, and then the cab over part. What I was saying is, if you can imagine this, you got it boxed, and then the cab over, the sleeping area actually went over the cab, and the rest of it sat in the bed of the truck. So we was up on the cab over side, laying up there with Thaxton and everything. Man, he went right to sleep without the pacifier. And we thought, man, this weekend he's going to be weaned from the pacifier. So we don't always have to tether it around in our pocket or him spitting it out, and then we got to clean it off and put it back in. So we were blessed, you know, that he didn't have to take the pacifier. He slept, and it was great spirits, and it was feeling good, and Carolyn was too. And so I had backed the trailer down in the water, and I said, I'm just going to go around here the little pond and fish a little bit. She said, you go ahead, I'm on nap with Thaxton, and then in a few minutes I'm gonna go down to the water's edge, and I'm gonna hold him and get in the water and everything. So I went around there, you know, and we're just enjoying life. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to enjoy life. Life doesn't have to be always stressful. Life doesn't have to be always demanding to get energy from you, to sap life out of you. We live the life where our life was always generated. It was always moving in our life. It generated. It didn't take from us. It gave to us. And that's what I want you to experience. I want you to experience life that gives to you and not take from you. I don't want you to get old before your time. I don't want you to be sick in living your life. I want you to live the highlight. I call it the highlight. High life. You live the high life, not the low life. And living the high life is not because of what you have financially. It's what you have developed in your mindset, in knowing things, and what you have settled in your heart of being able to live the high life. The financial part will come. It will come. The word says he gives you and me the ability to attain wealth. All the wealth and all the prosperity and all the goodness and great things of life come from God. Now, we have to participate in it. We have to believe that. We have to work at it. But the word always says as well that the blessing of the Lord makes us rich, and there's no toil, there's no work, there's no struggle in it. Too many of you struggle with life. I'm not saying you're not in life and you have to work and all that, But again, it's having a mindset and knowing in your spirit that the plan is set for you to live this life, a higher life and not the lower life. The enemy of this world is pulling you down to live a low life, to live a sub life. We live a supernatural life. We live a high life. And so again, that's very important to understand as well. You know, doesn't matter where you are economically or statue of where you're at, in the stature of your life or whatever. It doesn't dictate to you how you can have a high life because of your finances. Those things will take care of themselves if you understand that. I'm not saying you don't work, you don't do planning, and you don't do what you need to do to overcome. The life that we have, there's so much success out there. There's so much things that you can do. There's the greatness out there because God set it out there for us. He doesn't make it happen to you, but it's always following you around. It's trying to overtake you. So turn around and accept those things and get those things in you. Understand the promises. That's why I said, read your word. If you don't read your word, you will never understand these promises. And I'm not badgering you in a sense or condemning you because you haven't read the word. If you know there's benefits in something that you do, and you know they will be great and marvelous things in your life, you'll find those things out. You'll need the promises of God. Then when you understand the promises, they're there for you to take. You receive them and you retake them. You take them into you. And then you start living the high life, not the low life, not the sub life. It's where the enemy wants you. If he can keep you there, he can keep you down, and you'll never succeed from there. You'll never gain from there. But that's not what God wants for you. He wants you to be a true overcomer in this world. And I was thinking when I was just out on the boat, I didn't pull off very far from the bank. I just went around. At that time, the lake was up. There was a lot of nice bushes and shrubs and things that were underneath water. So I knew there would probably be fish up in there. They'd come up in there to feed and get bait and stuff like that, and or find bait to eat up there. And so I began to fish around there, and man, I started catching the white perch. I was catching big old white perch, and I text a couple of you guys about some big old white perch that we caught. And so I had come back with a stringer fish, and Carol and I was so excited about that, and got them all clean and started cooking, and I got to relax, just to kind of just relax in the Lord, to know, man, Tim, what a good life you have. Did you face things that day? Did you face things at work? Did you face the back then in the economy and stuff like that? And yes, I faced that, but here I am out here relaxing under God's canopy, God's sky. I'm here with my wife and my son, and I begin to realize more what a great life that I have. And so I was very protective of that throughout my life and my life as well now. Very protective of that. There was a lot of times that Carol and I didn't go on vacations because of our obligations and things we needed to do. But we always enjoyed the weekends we'd have. And not saying that we didn't go on vacation, but as a norm, we didn't, But we always protected that. It was always good to get away from what seems to be pressing on you and things like that. And and I thank God that He again spoke to me when I got to be 50 that I wasn't a man of struggle anymore. And I didn't have to do that. So. But anyhow, we'd gotten back and cooked the fish and was enjoying it, sitting around a little campfire and had a pallet there. There's a lot of sandy area. That's why they call it Sandy Lake Park. A lot of sandy area there where we was at. Had the blanket out there, and Thaxton was beginning to scoot around a lot. He could pull up, but and try to pull up, and he wasn't walking or anything yet. So I just it just, me telling you this is bringing such joy to me. It's just almost like that happened the other day, not 45 years ago, but that just seemed like it just happened the other day. When you have these memories and the things that you do and the enjoyment of those things, they're so fresh. This me telling you is such a freshness has come out of this for me, and it's still fresh to me, even though that it is aged 45 years from that time that happened. So I'm gonna finish this little story here, and I'll get back about the rollers on the boat. I'll put that in there, kind of a teaser in there. Or, I like fishing with topwater bait where you're popping along there and teasing the fish. And so I'm not trying to tease you in a sense to make you come back and listen, but I want you to enjoy these things as I enjoy these. And I'm going to be able to enjoy the episodes that you have, that you'll be able to tell me the things and the improvement and things that you gain in your life too. But I'll be right back. But I want to say again what Carol always said: we are eternal, and I'll be right back for the third video. Catch you later. Thanks.